So presently I am preparing for civil service, and also I have a baby, so I am taking care of her.
Otherwise, professionally?
So professionally I am not doing anything. Like I have to focus on these two priorities of preparing for civil service and my responsibilities.
So after BDS, you have not done any dentistry?
Sir, after BDS, I pursued my master's in forensic odontology, and after that, actually, I started with my preparation to become a civil servant.
Why you preferred forensic odontology? Is it professionally that expansive or giving opportunities?
Yes, sir. Sir, in India, it's an emerging field. Presently, there is not much opportunities. Like it has a huge potential to develop in India, but it will take some more years. I could have contributed in its development, but then I preferred to, like, I was inspired from that university only to pursue civil services. So I thought of preparing for this.
You are from Palakkad district.
Yes, sir.
What are the problems generally faced by people in Palakkad?
Yes, sir. So in Palakkad is 40% of our rice is coming from Palakkad, and it's majorly dependent on agrarian economy. So the major issue in that area is the agrarian issues, like the lack of agricultural remuneration. So that is one issue majorly faced. Another issue can be the dry climatic conditions of Palakkad, that is the hot weather and such issues. And thirdly, sir, the SC population is high in Palakkad, so they are not much represented in the government or the higher education, so that can be another one.
What about employment opportunities?
Yes, sir. So regarding employment, there are like huge unemployment is there, but mostly they are mostly they are dependent on the agriculture, and even industrial sector. It is in the Palakkad there is the industrial development area is there. So in that aspect, it is having. Sir, other than that, sir, generally there is an unemployment and skill development issue.
Sure.
Lakshmi, you have studied dentistry. See,
Yes.
Science has developed so much, but
Yes.
still, why is dentistry using amalgam?
Yes.
And mercury is a potential poisonous material as well. So why do you still continue to use amalgam for filling?
Yes, sir. Sir, amalgam is highly durable material and it is cost effective one. Especially in a country like India, amalgam can be affordable for many of them. And the ill effect from amalgam is very less compared to like the main issue regarding amalgam happens when there is bioaccumulation and biomagnification. That issue is not happening due to local presence of amalgam. And even many studies have done in that aspect, and there is no much issue on the health from its presence. That is why we are preferring it.
Is it continue to be used in other countries?
Sir, in many of the countries it is still in use, but due to the more aesthetic preference, people are adopting more recent materials like
what
composite.
is the latest material that is, there's a lot of research happening.
Yes.
You had composite resins, you have so many things coming up. What is the latest in thing?
Sir, presently like the veneers and the some many materials like the crowns they are made from very costly material like zirconium crowns are there. These are mostly used, and composite is one thing majorly used for small restorations, and so many cements are also being used.
Okay. You are a woman and you are from Kerala.
Yes.
Do you think women should be allowed into Sabrimala?
Yes, sir. Sir, the women, sir, in case of Sabrimala, the issue is regarding the cultural and religious rights of the people, and the women's right to enter into Sabrimala is given by the Constitution. So, as per the Supreme Court judgment, we can either.
Which article of the Constitution?
Sir, the women right to equality, right to equality and freedom. It gives them the freedom to access Article 14 and 15, sir. and even it can be
Is
included
14
in.
and 15 enforceable against the public, or is it enforceable against the state?
It is enforceable against states, sir.
So where is the state in this case? Is Sabarimala temple part of the state?
Sir, it also implies any public space occupied. Like it being a public space, we can't access the
So
entry.
will the same logic apply to say Lulu Mall?
Yes, sir.
It's a public place.
Sir, if they are denied access, if any section is denied the access to a public space, it can be an infringement on their rights.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Isn't that enforcement of rights against the general public?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it?
Yes,
Because
sir.
you are not part of the state.
Yes, sir.
And probably the constitution mentions only caste as a discrimination, which is not allowed
Yes, sir.
in public places.
Yes, sir.
Is gender mentioned there?
Sir, in my knowledge, I think gender is also mentioned in Article 15.
What does 15 say?
It prohibits discrimination of any person, and also it provides for any positive measures also. In positive discrimination also it is allowing.
What is the difference between 15 and 16?
Sir, 16 deals with reservation in the case of job opportunities, and in 15 is talking more about educational opportunities. And
So where is this access to public place happening? Where is that mentioned?
sir, I have to refresh that again. I forgot, sir.
Okay. You have studied this forensic odontology. What is this odontology? What is the meaning of odontology?
Sir, it's the study regarding dental elements. It's the field which deals with that, odontology, dentistry.
So what did you actually learn there?
Yes, sir.
What did you learn?
Sir, in forensic odontology, it mainly deals with using the knowledge regarding dental science in the administration of justice. And also, it helps during mass disasters in identifying the persons in mass disasters. And what all I studied, it includes like general forensic science also, and the dental specialization also. It includes, we were taught from fingerprinting, DNA analysis, and even focusing on bite mark analysis, age estimation, and even from the skeletal parameters like sex identification. All these are involved.
So you have a very niche knowledge now.
Yes, sir.
Are you proud of having acquired that much knowledge in that sector?
Yes, sir. I am proud
Then
of
why are you
that.
coming to the civil service and wasting all this accumulated knowledge? It should be used in that sector, isn't it?
Yes, sir. So the major issue in India, it is not developed. Like even in the past 5 years, not much has happened in that level. We could have contributed as a private citizen, but then that would have been very less. So I thought like civil service will give the same opportunity where I can use the skills and values, and it will have the capability to reach to a larger section of the society. And also, if I get an opportunity to promote forensic dentistry, I can play a
What
much
is your
better role.
favorite dish which you cook the best?
Sir, I do make fish curry well.
Can you share a recipe with us?
Sir, regarding fish curry, in my home, we prepare like, we take all the ingredients like the tamarind, the chili powder, turmeric powder, and even the fish, and we add water and then boil it. So salt, all these recipes I had to add salt requirement. And then once it's boiled, we will add the coconut milk.
How much will I add?
Sir,
There's
it
no
depends.
quantity.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually I have my own approximate measure for.
Okay.
Okay, Lakshmi, this National Family Health Survey results have come, and a very striking observation is that the sex ratio at birth, that is number of girl children to number of boys. Kerala used to have a positive sex ratio with more females than males, but the recent survey has shown that the sex ratio has decreased from 1,047 to 951.
Yes, sir.
What are the implications of this finding? And could there be any selective abortion process happening in a secret way in the state of Kerala also?
Yes. Sir, firstly, there is one son meta preference where we prefer the sons, and that has also resulted in so many unwanted girls. And in Kerala, the sex ratio is increasing because one aspect can be there are so many medical technologies whereby we can select the gender. So that can be one aspect why there is falling sex ratio. And sir, second can be, sir, in Kerala, as per my knowledge, the laws are very much implemented. So there won't be any selective abortions going on because our medical healthcare and even the law is very much strict. So in that aspect, I don't think so, sir.
What is that law which you are referring to
Yes, sir.
about medical termination of pregnancy?
Sir, it is PDDP Act, sir.
Okay, imagine a case of a 14-year-old girl who has become pregnant,
Yes, sir.
and the girl was identified to be pregnant and was brought to hospital when she was 26 weeks pregnant.
Yes, sir.
What are the legal provisions about it?
Yes, sir.
Can medical termination of pregnancy be done?
Sir, regarding that, at 26 weeks, even the law is not allowing to go for abortion, and also the effect on the girl and on the mother and the child can be very detrimental. So in that case, going for abortion will be a difficult thing. So I think it is better to give them the adequate medical care, and then the law also has to be implemented, like those who have violated the law has to be punished at the same time.
Do you remember any case where somebody has gone to the court and the court has actually allowed medical termination of pregnancy at that stage?
Yes, sir. Recently there was a case, and in that case, but there was severe abnormality in the child, and it was very much dangerous for both the mother and the child. In that case, it was allowed, but in this case, I think it is better to go for the delivery.
Okay. Many youngsters feel that this marriage institution is going to be extinct maybe in half a century, because people are very happily living in, and this bondages of a marriage as well as the legal process of getting out of an unhealthy marriage is adversely affecting the mindset of many youngsters. What is your take on it? Is marriage institution here to stay?
Sir, the benefits of marriage institution won't be received from the live-in relations, and even though the Supreme Court has accepted the live-in relations as like any other, there are so many issues in that regarding the safety or security, and even there is so many like what will happen if one leaves out of the relationship, what will happen to the children. So these can be there are so many demerits in live-in relations compared to a family setup, because families as an institution provides so many economic, psychological and many benefits. So in that case, sir, the family as an institution will remain over years to come.
What's your thought about implementing uniform civil code in India? Yes. It's a very heated debate now.
Yes, sir. Sir, in case of uniform civil code, India being multi-religious and very much with religious diversity, it is very difficult to go for implementing such a law, because firstly, it will be very difficult to bring all the religions into consensus, and secondly, sir, uniformity does not mean that everyone has to follow the same law, and sir, also there are so many issues regarding whether UCC is implemented to bring uniformity or is it to prevent discrimination. So the goal should be prioritized. Is it to remove discrimination against women? In that case, sir, we have to go for reforming the individual religious laws whereby some discriminations are there, that we have to prevent. Enforcing UCC is not advisable as of now.
But maybe giving certain privileges to certain communities will be discrimination towards others, right?
Yes, sir.
There's a thought process like that also.
Yes, sir.
What's your take on that?
Sir, recently, like through many judgments of Supreme Court, already lots of uniformity has been brought, and even now almost all the religions, I think it is uniform. So.
Okay. One final question. The recent union budget, the health minister had declared a policy related to Palakkad about a sickle cell anemia eradication project.
Yes.
It has run into controversy with some health experts saying that that need not have been a priority. What's your take on that?
Yes, sir. Sir, regarding sickle cell anemia, we have to go for as early as we control it is much better, because it is more happening due to inbreeding activities in the population, and so we have to prevent it as a priority area, and we have to go for screening, and all these measures has to be done so that it won't be a very big issue in the future. So it is good to prioritize it as of now.
Are you aware of the controversies or the statements made by the experts against implementing such a program? Some of the public health experts from your own state came on record.
Sir, that I am not aware of, sir, but in my opinion it is good.
Okay, thank you, Lakshmi.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Lakshmi, there have been many, publications that is coming up with ranking of religious freedom in India, where India is figuring one of the lowest.
Yes.
What is your take on that?
Sir, regarding the ranking, I am not aware, but in India, we do offer very good religious freedom. We have a constitution which protects the interest of all the religions. And compared to many other countries, even in Arab countries, we have provided enough religious rights to all the sections of this society.
There is a prediction that India is going to be the world's #1 GDP by 47. That will only complete 100 years of India's independence.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible? What is your take on that?
Yes, sir. Sir, it is possible with the if we go for if we reach our targets, our priorities, it is possible, because from 1991, if we see, we have achieved, if by today we have become a 3 trillion economy. So that same pace is only needed to achieve a developed country status by 2047. So I think it is achievable, sir.
In this context, you belong to the state of Kerala.
Yes, sir.
So every state is trying to do well economically and develop their respective states. So I was trying to contrast, by in the next few years, it is said that UP is going to touch 1 trillion economy. Okay,
Sir.
And you just compare the state of Kerala.
Yes.
So how do you contrast these two scenarios?
Yes. Sir, I think the parameters are different, because in Kerala and UP the population itself is different, and the demographic dividend we have to keep in mind. And sir, Kerala is mostly dependent on remittances, and that is one aspect. Presently, we are promoting many like industry. We have been successful in creating 1 lakh MSMEs. So we are also in a good pace only. But compared to UP, they have a very good industrial sector in UP. So I think that is the major reason for their high GDP. But we are also faring, sir. In services sector, we have information technology, technopark, all these areas are strong area. And the main thing regarding we have to reduce our dependency on the remittances by promoting our concepts like knowledge economy, tourism, all these potential area we have to improve. We have the capacity, sir.
So when we drafted our constitution, there was provision for reservations to uplift the socially disadvantaged communities.
Yes,
sir. What do you say? Have we outlived its utility?
Sir, even after reservation, many of the sections within each communities have not been able to get the benefits. Like even within the lower strata has not been able to be represented in the constitutional or even the government level. So I think there has to be more implementation of these systems so that everyone in each section get the benefit equally.
What is work-life balance?
Yes, sir. Sir, it's the striking the balance where you have a perfect professional relationship as well as at a personal level, and one can be a wholesome person. That means by work-life balance, sir.
So there are two theories. One is, it says the higher productivity is only possible if you break through the barriers of work-life balance.
Yes.
Would you subscribe to that?
No, sir, because to have higher productivity, a person should be mentally, physically, and he should be happy, health. Even the health concept involves the social element. So for that, for increasing the productivity, he should be a wholesome person, because any issue in one area, like if there is some issue at the personal level, it will impact the productivity at professional level, and if the professional crisis will impact the personal level. So that balance has to be maintained for efficient productivity.
The challenges of global warming is well known.
Yes, sir.
It is now observed that the real problem is because of the eating habits of people.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there are a large part of the people in the developed world, they consume non-vegetarian food,
Yes.
and it is directly contributing to a significant proportion of the global warming.
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with this?
Yes, sir.
So can you just elaborate?
Yes, sir. The main issue is regarding the methane emissions from this sector, from the beef and all these livestock. From the livestock, it is very much greenhouse gases is emitted. So that is the main reason regarding that. And also nowadays there are like awareness created regarding this aspect, and there is a movement towards the going for vegetarian, and even the vegan diet is being promoted. So in a gradual manner we can shift, but then the livestock remains a cheap source of protein presently. So we can't go for a ban on that. We have to strike a balance between that, sir.
My last question. In India particularly, and this whole discussion about minority and majority in terms of provisions and legal remedies, or is there any constitutional provision for the minority communities in India in any of its
Yes.
articles?
Yes, sir. We give the minority rights under we have give the minority rights to administer the educational institutions, and also the minority languages we are promoting. Sir, Article 15 and 16 provides. Sir, I forgot. Sir, it is Article 25 and 26.
What is the definition of minority?
Sir, it's actually at the national level we go for the minority religions. We don't have exact definition, if I think so, but we have listed certain religions as minority. But then linguistic minorities are determined at the state level.
Religious minorities?
At the national level.
Okay, thank you. I am done. Yeah.
Doctor.
ഫീഡ്ബാക്ക് മതിയോ? ഞാനോ? ഞാൻ ആക്ച്വലി regarding UCC and SB Shabrimala, your views were contradictory. In the Shabrimala thing, you told that women have the right to go to Shabrimala because under Article 14 and 15 they have the right.
Yes,
but UCC, it is under Article 14 and 15 also all the women should have the same right.
yes,
So how can you say that right should not be given because it is some religions don't give it?
yes, sir.
So on the one side you say that the right should be given because they are Hindus,
Yes, sir.
but for Muslims and Christians or whatever other religions like that, under UCC, that right should not be given,
Yes.
need not be given.
Yes, sir.
So is it not a contradiction?
Yes, sir. Sir, regarding that, UCC can be implemented, but it will take some more time. It has to be given its own pace so that it can be implemented effectively. And also there are certain constraints like personal laws falls under concurrent list. So what if the states also make certain amendments? So the uniformity will be gone. All these issues are there.
What is the legal position when in a concurrent list, if there are two legislations of the center and the state, what will stand?
That center has.
So what
center
is the
will stand,
confusion?
sir. Yes, sir. Sir, UCC can be implemented, but it will take time.
In Shabrimala, actually women are allowed.
Yes,
Women are allowed, but only thing is that women between 10 and 15, that
Yes,
is only banned.
Yes, sir.
Women are allowed,
Sir.
but women within that period of 10 year to 50 year, those are the people who are banned.
Yes, sir.
It is not a public place actually.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
It is not a public place. It is a temple is not a public place. In the termed just like a other road or something like that, or a hospital or something like that, because a temple where certain things are to be completed. In each temple they have got a tradition, rituals, etc., which are to be followed.
Yes, sir.
In that way, it is not a complete public place.
Yes, sir.
Anybody just cannot enter,
Yes, sir.
because you have to, even for men,
Yes, sir.
they are supposed to follow certain rituals before entering. No, I'm just telling.
Yes, sir.
And now we will go through the reactions, no? Because one I think is that you are comfortable sitting and everything is comfortable, but I think you have to be little more deep inside these things, like the articles for minorities 29 and 30.
2930, sir.
Article 29 and 30. But in Article 29 and 30, it doesn't prohibit the same right to the majority.
Yes, sir.
The minority is not defined anywhere in the Constitution.
Yes, sir.
Now there is a case in the Supreme Court that who should be minority. So the court has asked the opinion of the government of India, and the government of India directed that the state also should say. So regarding 8 states where Hindus are minority, whether they will be regarded as minorities. Such a case is standing. And Sabrimala also, it's in a bigger bench now, and the decision has not been taken whether that should be allowed or not should be allowed, because the Hindu
Yes, sir.
Malhotra judgment also should be read.
Yes, sir.
What reason she has given.
Yes, sir.
That's a very important portion of that judgment.
Yes.
That is why, otherwise, in the review, normally reviews are not allowed.
Yes, sir.
The review was allowed, and it was sent to a larger bench.
Okay, sir.
So, why it is sent to a larger bench, we should know.
Yes, sir.
And another thing is regarding, we didn't ask many questions on external affairs.
Yes, sir.
What is happening now with the Ukraine war? What is the boldness that is shown in the Indian foreign policy? Especially, you should actually go through the speeches made by Dr. S. Jaishankar.
Yes, sir.
That is available in the YouTube, because till the recent latest ones, there was one question somebody asked you regarding that grading. That answer also is given. How grading is done. There was 2 days back, there was an interview with how ranking is done. Because from India, certain people give complaint to the American State Department,
Okay, sir.
and they make these rankings
Yes, sir.
like that. How it is purposely done.
Yes, sir.
It is purposely done, how purposely it is done, and so I just forgot his name. 2 days back only, that was in the TV, an interview with
Salvador Barbados.
Balban.
Australian.
That is one.
Yes.
Another one with American senator. Another was with American senator. Balban, I think. And those discussions will really give actually how this data is manipulated. We have to be very clear about it. These data are created, actually manipulated by so many people to show Indian a bad
Yes, sir.
sphere. Because if anybody say minority rights in India is minorities are affected in India, I have one only simple question. When India became independent, India had less than 3 crore Muslims in India.
Okay, sir.
At present, they are more than 21 crore. That is 7 times growth.
Yes, sir.
So, how can this 7 times growth take place if there is there are antipathy towards minorities in India?
Yes, sir.
Because the growth can take place only in a congenial atmosphere. So, that congenial atmosphere is available in India. That is the answer to that.
Yes, sir.
If anybody asks such a question.
Yes, sir.
And then 1 lakh MSMEs in Kerala.
Yes.
Actually, it is a very wrong norm, because these are all registrations which Now, actually, you should have seen this Manorama survey on that. Out of this 1 lakh, most of them are actually had already existed. Some of them are not existing at all. So many such things are there.
Okay, sir.
So you have to be very careful about you when you say that 1 lakh MSMEs we created in Kerala in last 5 years. This is actually, this 1 lakh is actually for 1 year or so. It is 1 year figure that is, I think he must be.
Kerala government has validated this data.
Kerala government has validated, but it's a manufactured data.
Okay, sir.
It is not an actual data and it is not effective.
Okay, sir.
Like employment, it is productive employment.
Yes, sir.
Is there any productive employment created with MSME in Kerala? No. Actually, what is the problem why Kerala is not developing economically? And what will happen if already 4 lakh crore rupees of loan is there and we are still want to take more and more loans? If such a thing goes on, what will happen to a state? What will happen?
So gradually we will have to borrow money more.
No, if we borrow more and more money
It will be an
and no,
economic
there is no productivity created within Kerala, what will happen?
Sir, it will be an economic crisis then. There will be more unemployment, all these issues will be there.
There is a time in our constitution regarding that. What is
Financial
that?
crisis.
Financial emergency.
Sir.
There can be a financial emergency that is reported in Kerala, where people are not, government is not able to pay salaries,
Yes, sir.
pensions, and they are not able to pay for the daily requirements. Then what will happen?
Yes.
Then what will happen?
Sir, we will have to we will have to depend on the center or govern.
The center will have to take over
Take
the
over the
administration under the financial emergency,
Yes, sir.
and the center will have to take decisions like IMF conditions.
Yes, sir.
State will have a lot of conditions to follow, and they will have to take over the whole burden. Why the conditions of why now Kerala government says allow us to take loans.
Yes.
The center cannot allow a state to take loans just like that, because ultimately a state is not a sovereign state.
Yes,
A state is only a part of the nation. So if the state takes on taking on loans and loans and loans, and they start defaulting, what will happen is that
yes,
the center has to intervene.
yes, sir.
Ultimately, the burden is not only of the state government, ultimately it will become the burden of the central government. So the central government will have to put a premium on that,
Yes, sir.
taking on loans, etc., initially itself.
Yes, sir.
So these things we have to be very careful.
Yes, sir.
And what I have to, we did in ChatGPT, you have to, I have prepared something. The Ukraine war and India's international relations. The YouTube speeches of Dr. Jayasankar I have already told. Infrastructure push and the poor
Yes, sir.
in India.
Yes, sir.
What is happening in infrastructure? Because some people say that before, rather than having 20 lakh crore rupees spent for making roads, you distribute this money to the people, poor people,
Yes, sir.
which will be better. Food security.
Yes, sir.
The crisis in Afghanistan and Pakistan, its possible impact in India.
Yes, sir.
Now, what Pakistan is in a deep crisis, and what is going to happen to India because of that?
Yes, sir.
Because a lot of people may try to enter
Yes,
India also. The new educational policy,
Yes, sir.
what is happening there. ChatGPT and what is going to, you was asking the other candidate. ChatGPT and or other such systems. Now what Google did, Google actually copied ChatGPT and it failed. And in one day, they lost
Yes, sir.
$100 billion
Yes.
in their valuations. And Physics Nobel Prize to 2022. What does it really show? The relationship between Physics Nobel Prize 2022 and Sanatana Dharma. Actually, there is a relation between that and Sanatana Dharma. You can just go through that.
Yes, sir.
അങ്ങനെയുണ്ടല്ലേ
Yeah. Quantum entanglement and Sanatana Dharma. So, quantum entanglement, yes.
സാർ അതിൻ്റെ കോപ്പി കൊടുക്കാൻ മതി അല്ലേ?
ഇതെൻ്റെ
സാർ ടോപ്പിക് ഷെയർ ആക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. മേബി സാർ ഷെയർ.
If somebody takes a copy, I can give.
യെസ് സാർ, ഞാൻ ചെയ്തു തരാം സാർ.
എൻ്റെ കയ്യിൽ വേറെ കോപ്പി ഇല്ല, അതുകൊണ്ടാണ്.
ഞാനൊരു കോപ്പി തരാക്കിയിട്ട് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാം. പ്രശാന്ത് സാറ് പോകണം.
Doctor.
Please.
Lakshmi, you have improved in your performance from your last mock. But again, few suggestions is that we need to be updated about what is happening as of now, especially some data, statistics, facts, figures, dates, articles of the Constitution. If you quote these things and answer, it sounds extremely impressive. That is one thing which you have to. And again, regarding the areas from medicine like the sickle cell anemia controversy, please read about a couple of health experts who have gone on record stating that the government need not spend so much of money for something which is a very endemic kind of a thing. And their arguments, just read about that. You can just go through those arguments, present both sides, and finally give your wisdom about what you think is right. Need not just confer to whatever these experts say. You can have a different opinion, no problem. So about controversial issues, especially this contradiction in viewpoints, I purposefully asked about the Uniform Civil Code because a question about Sabarimala had come. And I was almost sure that there is going to be some sort of a... So don't jump into such traps. The consistency of viewpoint about everything is. It will be good again to present both sides and finally say that at the larger interest as per the Constitution, this is the way in which it should be done, but there should be a process of negotiation happening before implementation. That can be the broad way in which you can structure the answer. And even about Sabarimala, the importance of rituals in such an institution, that also should be highlighted so that your answer should not sound like a biased answer. You should sound like a person who has examined both sides of the issue clearly well before reaching your own judgment about that. So otherwise, it has been a good performance. All the best.
Thank you.
Lakshmi, I think you have an excellent personality and way to present and all that. Please take it to the next level. Because you, for example, when I asked you about cooking, you have mentioned cooking as your hobby. So it is a great opportunity. It is an open-ended question. You are getting a question about cooking. You said fish. What fish? And then how? That's a very vague, any layman can say that. It was an opportunity for you to impress the board with a cuisine. My favorite thing is this. This is how I make it.
The name of the career.
Correct. There's so much of
name.
I mean, what is special about this? What is a special secret ingredient which you will be adding? All that stuff. It's an opportunity to open a very good conversation with the board. So why should you again bat like Dravid and stop it there? You're not giving continuation of that. And then women in Sabarimala, Lakshmi, you have to read the sections. You should read the dissenting judgment, as sir said. Because the dissenting judgment, in every judgment, in every court case, the media will only write about the main judgment. But for a civil service aspirant to understand it properly, you should read the dissenting judgment. That gives you a perspective of another viewpoint. Why that judgment has come out in that way. And also don't go by these discussions that happen in the channels, especially Malayalam channels, because you're just being, your opinion is being skewed and you will not get a clear picture. For example, I'll tell you why you are jumping into this kind of a problem. For Sabarimala, you took a stand. For Uniform Civil Code also, you took another stand without realizing that fundamentally those are opposing. Why you are not getting it is because you have heard the same people say the both things. So you think that that is consistent. It's not consistent.
Don't see Malayalam news till your interview is over.
Yes, sir, I quoted it from one senior was saying the same answer. So
No, don't. Actually, I will.
Sir, that's the best advice you can give, sir.
Don't see Malayalam. This charcha.
no, sir, I am not.
Don't say this. It is. Actually, I forgot to tell you. You see, beyond gravitas,
Yes,
and you see Vantage of CNN IBN,
yes, sir.
Palki Sharma.
Ah.
Now they are giving from 10 p.m. to 10:45 p.m. The other one is 9 p.m. to 9:45 p.m. If these two, and now this beyond is not available nowadays because there's a
YouTube.
YouTube, it may be available, but you see both. This both of it gives you international, national issues, the best thing, this point of perspectives, everything so well.
Yes, sir.
So it will be good till you go for your interview. Sometime you see this gravitas as well as the Vantage, and both of them really give. And avoid Malayalam discussions because it actually doesn't give you any proper perspective.
Only sound and fury, nothing else. In Beyond, you will not find shouting.
Yes, sir.
Very, very civilized way of telling things. You will get some data. Now, again, coming to the Constitution, the Article 14 is available against the state. 15 is also available against the state, but 15(2) is for public. But then you should remember what all are mentioned there. It mentions shops, public restaurants, hotels, and public entertainment places. It's not, no temple is mentioned. Then you will again find that in 15(2) itself, further it goes down to say where all other than these places, 1 and 2. 2 says wells, tanks, ghats. Ghats is the wash area and all that. Ghats which have been wholly or partially funded by the state funds. Now, when the drafting committee of the Constitution, when the Constituent Assembly, they went through wells, tanks and ghats also, it's obvious they must have thought of temple also. They have omitted temple here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm not saying that this is the viewpoint, but this is a fact.
Yes, sir.
Okay, when you are going to cite the Constitution, you should be able to say where it is mentioned. It's not there. It is a progressive view. It's a progressive jurisprudence that that the judiciary is trying to say that okay, gender equality. That is a concept, but just to argue that it is there in the Constitution would be like saying that the basic structure is mentioned in the Constitution. It's not mentioned.
Yes, sir.
It is a creation of the code. So when the dissenting judgment was written, it is purely kind of a law-based thing, and law is always uncomplicated if you go by common sense. If you try to interpret things which are not there in the law, you will have contradiction. That is why you are finding contradiction while answering. So take a balanced view. Don't take an extreme view just because you think that speaking in favor of entry is fashionable. You can say that. I'm not saying that you should not take that view. When you take the view, you should have justification that is genuine. You can just say that even if the Constitution is not providing for it, I am for it because that is for gender equality. That is your viewpoint. But to argue that it is there said inside the Constitution, Article 14, 15, that will be stretching it too much.
Sir, in that aspect, can I bring the concept of ethnocentrism or cultural relativism? I was framing an answer.
The more words you are going to throw, the possibility of getting more questions on that also. What is ethnocentricity? How do you apply it here? And also because you are answering something slightly differently on civil code. Uniform civil code is very much mentioned in the Constitution. It's a directive principle. So that is one target that has been assigned by the Constituent Assembly to the government. So we have to go there.
Yes, sir.
So how can you totally disregard that something that has been mentioned in the Constitution and instead argue for something that is not mentioned? Yes, temple is not mentioned here.
Yes, sir.
Actually, like our CM yesterday was telling, in triple talaq, why punishment is one for one religion, that is Islam, that is criminalized. And for others, divorce is not criminalized. He should understand that no other religion triple talaq can be given.
Yes,
So triple talaq is given only in Islam. So that is banned. So if again then you are using triple talaq, then you are punished. Because in all other religions, the divorce is through the court. And that is the regular procedure. There is nothing against it. But the CM is asking, Why triple talaq only those that is criminalized? It is because only triple talaq can be used only in Islam. That is why it was abandoned, it was abolished, and then using it again is become punishable. So you should know the why it is not a discrimination. It is not a discrimination because in other religions no triple talaq method is available.
And now one more thing, when you present a uniform civil code as if it is a very difficult thing to achieve, I think that is also a wrong notion. Are you aware that there is a uniform civil code in India already?
Sir, it's in Goa.
It is there in Goa.
Yes, sir.
So nothing earth-shattering has happened in Goa. People are living in Goa, and they are happily living there, isn't it? So what can happen in Goa can definitely happen in other places. There are things that were assumed to be impossible, like taking out Article 370 and all that. There are things that were thought that it will never happen. Things have happened. And it's not that everything is going to shatter. And there is equality in it. There is gender justice in it. And this has got nothing to do with religion in the true sense, because these are secular aspects. How can property rights and your your regulation of your marital status, how and why it should be connected to religion? When the Hindu Marriage Act was introduced, there was so much opposition. Like it was kind of in the 50s, I think 56 or something. 54. When it was introduced, there were lots of people who opposed that also. So if you are going to wait, when Sati was abolished, there were people who opposed it. So if you are going to wait for each religion to reform by itself and allow it that discrimination to happen, which is clearly prohibited by the Constitution, because Article 14 clearly applies there actually, isn't it? If you are going to interpret something that has been clearly mentioned, you don't accept it, but things that are not written there, you are going to cite it. That becomes difficult. So I would really suggest that take a stand which you can justify. That intellectual honesty should be there when you answer each question. Otherwise, it looks like you are parroting an opinion said by somebody in some talk show. Don't give that impression. Otherwise, I think you have a good personality and way of presenting, and you are not flustered or you are not showing any sign of getting worried and all that. So, which is very good, and you are smiling. Those are really good positive things. So, go with that. I think you'll do really well.
As Prasanth started by saying, you are doing well. The real challenge is to lift your performance to the next level, where easily another 20-30 marks if you could. So from that perspective, you are well informed. You are quite persuasive in answering also. You are convincing, and we are fairly able to say as a very informed person. But what I feel is sometimes you miss the crux. For example, when I asked you about the GDP, now all the states are now working towards developmental journey. So the real the problem is when I asked you to contrast, but you try to say both of them are doing well. That is completely wrong, no? Because UP is pursuing a very focused, development-oriented policy infrastructure. What is Kerala happening? There is a definite. You don't need to necessarily put it in that manner, but definitely the direction is not the same. And naturally, it is so now in a scenario where the whole country is moving in a development direction. If a state is standing aside, it will easily get noticed, and that is going to really have a big difference in the outcomes. So that is one. Secondly, even in the reservation I asked you about, do we need to continue? You said yes. Nothing wrong. But the Constitution very clearly said within so many years it has to be the social injustice or whatever the inequalities has to be addressed, but that is no action taking on that front. Is it not?
There you can actually say, we should have a statistics to do these things. Actually, we should first know what is the population proportion of a particular community and how much of their proportion is already got jobs in government or public sector. Once that has been achieved properly, then we can think of stopping it. But first of all, there should be a statistic which is not available now. That is the problem with the present setup. So you have to be aware of that thing. Can anybody take a copy of this?
No, somebody photocopy. ഞാൻ ഒരു കോപ്പി തരാം സാറിൻ്റെ ലിസ്റ്റ് വളരെ കോംപ്രഹെൻസീവ് സാറ് ലിസ്റ്റ് ഇറക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ബി ഹെൽപ്ഫുൾ ജസ്റ്റ് ടു ഗോ ത്രൂ ആൻഡ് സീ സം ഏരിയാസ് യു ആർ മിസ്സിംഗ് ഔട്ട് യു ക്യാൻ വർക്ക് ഓൺ.
Regarding what he was telling about Shabrimala dissenting judgment, you have to also read the dissenting judgment in the National Judicial Commission, the Supreme Court, that case, second case, judge's case, second case. There also there was a dissenting judgment, which was actually telling that this National Judicial Commission law should be adopted by it is the first time in India, the entire parliament, only one absentia was there. Other than that, everybody approved it. And I think about 19 or 20 states also approved it. This is to amend the constitution, such a procedure was taken and amended the constitution, and 5 judges sit there and say that we don't accept it. 5 persons just disapprove the entire country's opinion. Out of that 5, only 4. One is actually approving it. So that it's a controversial subject even now. Even now tensions are between government and regarding the collegium system and all those things are happening. So you have to be reading that also, that controversy also, you should be thorough with it. Be careful. Anyway, I have mentioned points in this regarding your own area, Palakkad area, Kerala area. Demographic differences in Kerala and compared to the nation. And actually, national level, actually the women percentage has improved. I think recently I heard that women outnumber men in India now. Actually, which was not
All India level?
All India level.
Oh, I see, okay.
All India level. But that just verify it. I just overheard one day some news that women outnumber men. But one day I think Prime Minister was speaking on something. So that is, I didn't verify it. But I think there's a substantial increase in the women proportion in India. But Kerala has gone down the other way. That is the difference that doctor was asking you, you know. So be careful about that. Then ChatGPT issue that may come up. Because it changes the whole issue of artificial intelligence and its use and how it is going to affect the employmentability, and how it is going to change the entire atmosphere. Actually, you can also try to go to ChatGPT and try to get what are the possible questions. She can try. She can go to ChatGPT and try what are the possible questions that can be asked.
You should be careful because
UPSC questions.
ChatGPT actually bluffs if it doesn't know. It's actually bluffing.
Current affairs, it doesn't know. What input it is given, that only output it comes.
Okay, overall, you are doing well. Okay, all the best. So, just what finally?
Physics Nobel Prize, 2022. I already told you, I think. So, because that is very important, and lot of articles have come on that. In YouTube, you will be available. It will be available on YouTube also. In Malayalam also it is available. National Disaster Management, and that is our activity in Syria and Turkey. How did we help them? We helped Afghanistan also. Actually, none of these countries are helping India. But when a problem came there, we went and helped them. How is it good, etc. And Pakistan and issue relating to India, China and India. And because nowadays, a lot of people say that yesterday the Dr. Jaishankar has given this reply to that also. India lost the land in 1962, not after that. So we are actually in a very bad position because of whatever happened historically. Either we Gilgit area, we are Aksai-Chin area, we have to get it back. That is with China now. It is considered as a Chinese area. So all those things you have to just go through
Yes, sir.
When is your interview?
Sir, it's in the third phase. After April 21st.
After April 20.
Illa.
What is your husband doing?
Sir, he is working in SBI, Thrissur.
Acha. So you are staying in Thrissur,
No, sir. Presently, we have taken a house for rent here.
Trivandrum.
Yes, sir.
Acha.
All the best.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.
So go through this and try to see this news regarding bandage and gravitas.
Yes, sir.
That will give you a lot of information, latest information on perspective. That is bandage actually it gives a global view with Indian perspective.
Yes.
It is what is given.
Yes, sir.
And with Kerala budget, then economic review, national economic review, national budget. Please go through this because that can be, and concerned with your BDS subject also,
Yes, sir.
the likely area that he was asking also. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Amrita IAS Academy.